Hello and good evening. I hope you're all doing well. Good to see you in. Jeff Rock, Sandra, Nigel is over the moon, Doug Santanello, Phil, Patrick Becker, Grumpy Mike, Talking Kev, Andy, hey bro, BC Rich 581, and Ben Coombs. Oh, we've also got Papa Blue in, and also John ZD351. So tonight we are paying a big tribute to another amazing guitar player, Brian May. I'm going to see him in, I think it's June next month, actually. We're going to see them play with Adam Lambert in Wembley, I think. So that should be fun. Hey, Dennis, good to see you in as well. Right, I am going to dive straight in. Oh, Nicola, hey, Nicola, great to see you. And also Johnny Love. Right. We're going to dive straight in because we have a lot of videos to get through tonight. So we're going to start with Brian May's little biography.
CBE, PhD, Froz is a founding member of Queen, a world-renowned guitarist, songwriter, producer and performer, also a doctor of astrophysics, 3D stereoscopic photographic authority and a passionate advocate and campaigner for animal rights. As an accomplished astronomy student working towards a PhD, Brian put his academic studies on hold when Queen's popularity first exploded. Over the following 4 decades, the band enjoyed worldwide success with a musical catalog that consistently tops popularity polls and sees Queen remain the most successful albums act in UK chart history. Brian penned 22 of Queen's top 20 hit singles, including We Will Rock You, which, as well as being namesake to the worldwide hit musical written with Ben Elton and now seen by over 14 million people, was recently declared the most played song at American sporting events, BMI. Reported to have been played over 550,000 times during the London 2012 Olympic Games, We Will Rock You was performed live by Brian and Roger Taylor, accompanied by Jessie J, during the closing ceremony, viewed by a TV audience estimated at 1 billion. Another memorable, global, live appearance, was Brian playing his own arrangement of God Save the Queen from the roof of Buckingham Palace during the 2002 Golden Jubilee celebrations. With a great love for live performance, having played over 700 concerts with Queen, in 2004 Brian and Roger celebrated their induction into the UK Music Hall of Fame by performing with former Free, Bad Company vocalist, Paul Rodgers. A triumphant 55-date world tour with Paul as guest vocalist followed, the first Queen tour in 20 years, along with the studio album The Cosmos Rocks, supported by a second world tour and the release of 2 live DVDs and a live album. 2012 saw a return of Queen on stage, this time with guest vocalist, Adam Lambert, a partnership, which delighted fans and critics unanimously. As an accomplished solo artist, Brian toured his highly successful albums 1992's Back to the Light, featuring Too Much Love Will Kill You, and Driven by You, both Ivor Novello Award winners, and 1998's Another World. No stranger to the theatrical world, Brian wrote and performed the music for the 1987 and 1990 productions of Macbeth at the London Riverside Studios, and he has regularly contributed to the live performance work of his wife, Anita Dobson. Brian delved into the world of film scoring when Queen became the first rock group to score a major film, Flash Gordon. Definitive music for Highlander followed, an opera for Steve Barron's Pinocchio, and a complete film soundtrack created by Brian for the 1999 French art film, Furia. He has contributed to a number of soundtracks including the Rocky Horror Picture Show, Mission Impossible 2 and Spider-Man 2, as well as writing themes for several TV shows. Brian is proud to be an ambassador for the Mercury Phoenix Trust, the charity set up in memory of Freddie Mercury, which has channeled over $15 million to support global AIDS projects. Their commitment to AIDS awareness led to Queen's driving involvement in the 46,664 campaign, alongside the Nelson Mandela Foundation founded in October 2003, with concert performances in South Africa and London. Brian also performed with Armenian duduk player, Yvan in the 2005 extraordinary 46,664 Arctic concert in Tromsø, Norway, 200 miles inside the Arctic Circle. Brian's songs and distinctive guitar style, produced from his revered homemade, red special, guitar using a sixpence as a plectrum, continue to inspire a diverse genre of international artists. His wealth of guest contributions range from playing on Michael Kamen's 2002 Winter Olympics theme, to producing the #1 comic relief hit, The Stonk, and, most recently, recording and performing both with Lady Gaga, and with Dappy on his hit, Rockstar. And of course, Brian's creative forces continue, partnering co-star, Carrie Ellis, with whom he wrote, arranged, performed and produced Carrie's stunning debut album, Anthems. Brian and Carrie's second UK tour took a departure from their 2011 larger-scale Anthems tour, to favor an intimate acoustic evening with Carrie singing and Brian accompanying on both guitar and vocals. The November 2012 Born Free tour promoted awareness of Virginia McKenna's Born Free Foundation and was revived in June 2013 to herald the UK release of the live album Acoustic by Candlelight and celebrate Brian and Carrie's single release, the Kissing Me song. As a lifelong advocate of animal welfare, Brian set up the Save Me campaign, named after his song, to champion all, but predominantly British, wildlife. Save Me works at grassroots level in conjunction with a local animal rescue and rehoming center as well as being a player alongside the major animal welfare groups. Brian has been a leading inspiration in the fight against fox hunting and the ongoing fight against the proposed UK badger cull. Details of the work of Save Me can be found at www.saveme.org. UK, also at www.teambadger.org. Brian has always retained his keen passion for astronomy and in 2006, after a 30-year break, he returned to astrophysics and his doctoral thesis. Already the recipient of honorary degrees from the Universities of Hertfordshire, Exeter and Liverpool John Moores, upon submission of his updated thesis on the motions of interplanetary dust, Brian achieved his full PhD degree from Imperial College, London, in 2007. He subsequently accepted a post of visiting researcher to continue his work in astronomy and is currently Chancellor of Liverpool John Moores. 2006 saw Brian co-author his first book, Bang! The Complete History of the Universe, with Sir Patrick Moore and Dr. Chris Lintott, followed in 2012 with the release of a greatly anticipated sequel, The Cosmic Tourist. Another long-term interest in 3D photography led to the publication of Brian's second book. Co-authored with Elena Vidal, A Village Lost and Found is an authoritative study of the work of master 1850s stereo photographer, T.R. Williams, complete with stereoscope designed by Brian himself. He is currently co-authoring a book on French diableries, due for publication in October 2013. More information on this and all matters stereoscopic are available at Brian's dedicated website, www.londonstereo.com. Brian was appointed Commander of the Order of the British Empire in 2005 for services to the music industry and for his charity work, and is patron to a number of charities, also a Vice President of the RSPCA. Brian enjoys interacting with his fans, who can enjoy updates on his work and thoughts via his website at www.brianmay.com.
So, yeah, he really is a smart guy. A very, very smart guy. He's not only a PhD, but he is also a very, very keen, what can I say? He's concerned about the planet, and I think that's a really good thing. Hey, Albus, Aaron, good to see you. Glenn Bailey, Janice. Hey, Janice, great to see you. So I have a lot of videos tonight. I have got a little acoustic video from Gear Street. I've also got a little bit about Gibson beating Dean in the lawsuit. So, yeah, there's those two, along with Brian May getting brownouts, Brian performing again for the Queen, and Queen, how they stayed together. I have, of course, got a video about the Red Special. And finally, the band that inspired Queen. So all that coming up tonight, and tons and tons. So let me know. Yeah, my tongue is healing. I still have a nasty ulcer. Thanks for the thanks for that. Again, is a bit of a nasty, nasty ulcer. Unfortunately, when I'm asleep, I do tend to bite my tongue and the sides of my mouth, and that causes terrible ulcers. But yeah, it's healing a bit, and that is good. Don't forget to check out Ben tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. So, bless you guys. Let me know what you would like to see first. I think actually I would like to get the Dean and Gibson issue out of the way first. So I'm going to play that one.
Case against Dean Guitars over trademark infringement. In response, Dean has released a statement claiming victory in the trademark claims relating to its 3 models. Gibson has won a decisive victory over Dean in its trademark infringement case over trademark infringement of its electric and acoustic guitars. The court's decision by jury today, to uphold Gibson's long-established and well-recognized trademarks for Gibson's innovative and iconic guitar shapes, is a win for Gibson and the music community at large, says Gibson in a statement. The court found that the Gibson trademarks are valid, the Gibson shapes are not generic, and the defendants were guilty of both infringement and counterfeiting. Gibson is very pleased with the outcome after years of simply trying to protect their brand and business through well-recognized intellectual property rights, rights that have been Gibson's for decades. In a positive spin on the judgment, Dean Guitars are focusing on trademark infringement of 3 of its guitar models that weren't found in Gibson's favor. And notably, Dean was not found to have infringed on Gibson's standalone trademark for the Flying V electric guitar. We are thrilled that a Texas jury has vindicated Armadillo in ruling for Armadillo on its defense to Gibson's trademark claims on our Dean V guitar, Dean Z guitar, and Evo headstock, says Dean's parent company Armadillo CEO Yvan Robson in a statement. The jury found that Armadillo is not liable to Gibson for our long use of those guitars and headstock. The jury issued a judgment in the amount of $4,000, a mere fraction of the $7 million plus originally sought by Gibson, added Robson. That $4,000 relates to what Gibson is deemed to be owed for counterfeiting statutory damages per counterfeit trademark per type of goods sold, or offered for sale. The jury also found the Dean marketed counterfeits of the Explorer, Flying V, SG body shapes, as well as the Gibson Hummingbird. It is not guilty of marketing a counterfeit of the Dove Wing headstock shape. The 27th of May rulings in Gibson's favor come at the end of a 2-week trial concern the U.S. trademarks for the Flying V body shape, the Explorer body shape, the S body shape, and the SG body shape. Gibson's retains the trademark for these in the U.S. Following the admissions of hundreds of pieces of evidence and a number of industry witnesses taking the stand, a jury found that Dean had infringed on Gibson's trademarks for guitar body shapes concerning the Flying V, Explorer and SG models. In addition, it ruled in Gibson's favor on trademarks for the Dove Wing headstock and the Hummingbird acoustic guitar. Gibson's guitar shapes are iconic, and now are firmly protected for the past, present, and future, Gibson concluded in its statement following the rulings. From a broader perspective, this court decision is also a win for Gibson fans, artists, dealers, and related partners who expect and deserve authenticity. Not to mention for all of the iconic American brands that have invested in meaningful innovation and continued protection, only to see it diluted with unauthorized and often illegitimate knockoffs. Gibson can now focus attention on continuing to leverage its iconic past, and invest in future innovation, with confidence. This case is in contrast to Europe, where Gibson had a Flying V trademark appeal rejected by the EU General Court in 2019. The legal focus for Gibson now switches to the BandLab-owned Heritage Guitars legal action against Gibson, in response to threats issued by the U.S. company over alleged trademark infringement. Heritage's history as a brand dates back to Kalamazoo in the 1980s. Following Gibson's factory move from Michigan to Nashville in 1984, Heritage Guitars was formed in Kalamazoo, Michigan by a small group of former Gibson employees. The firm then continued to make Gibson-style guitars. Relations between the two companies appeared to sour after the 2016 acquisition in part by Bandlab Technologies, a Singapore-based conglomerate run by Meng Ru Kwok, the son of billionaire palm oil trader Kwok Kun Hong. To be clear, Gibson has not sued Heritage and has been proactive towards a solution, Gibson said in a statement in 2020. However, Gibson will not accept that Heritage Guitars, part, owned by Bandlab, in partnership with real estate developers, can rewrite Gibson's history or blatantly breach a good faith contract. It sounds to me like Gibson is back to its old, bullying, ways.
Yeah, so I am not sure what Gibson are up to. They only got $4,000 back from Dean, and they were originally after $7 million. It seems crazy. That says, so when Gibson are going after hundreds of kit manufacturers and all the other, exactly. Well, why don't they go after these? This is obviously one of my early guitars I used to show on the channel. It is a Chinese Gibson. And I am absolutely livid that they have never gone after them. I know it's so hard because obviously China encourage knockoffs. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Glenn. Gibson should concentrate on building good guitars again and innovative new styles without QC issues. Yeah. I think that's a CEO concentrating on clothing. Did Heritage find a load of blueprints in the drawer? Well, they definitely have them because they were all of the old employees that stayed at Kalamazoo. Yeah. Mathematically challenged. You're right. Definitely, there is a big difference. Yet they're probably afraid of China. I think it's more the case that so many counterfeiters are building in China. I don't think they can actually attack them all. Hey, Geronimo. Great to see you, bro. Oh, Grumpy Mike, I hope you're okay, my friend. You're back to making videos and doing stuff you enjoy again. I didn't know you were poorly, my friend, but I wish you well. I really hope that you're okay, bro. A really good guy, Grumpy Mike. Because Mark Agnesi doesn't want to wake up in a prison camp. I love it. Love it. Oh, wow, Papa Blue, your wife just ordered you an Epiphone Les Paul Bourbon Burst. Wow, that'll be gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, a very interesting take on the fact that Gibson obviously just want to take brands to court and not the Chinese manufacturers. I tell you why that is, because it is easier to sue a brand which is in the same country than it is to go overseas. Oh, Doug, thank you so much. That's really kind. He says, thanks for the information. Really enjoyable. Bless you, brother. Let me give you one of these. Never courted, but always appreciated. Very, very kind of you, sir. Thank you so much. Hey, back guitar Miller's in as well. That is so cool. And thanks again, Doug. Really appreciate that. And I am glad you find the information that I come up with interesting and enjoyable. Bless you. Right, you have a choice now because we do have to get on. You can have Brian May Brown amps. You can have Brian performs the Queen. You can have the Ibanez versus Yamaha. You can have Queen, the band that stayed together. You can have the Red Special, or you can have the band that inspired Queen. I'm going to wait and see the very first thing that comes up, and we will go with that. Geronimo says, this week Graham Fricker had a Gibson Flying V review video and a review of I saw the Harley Bentons, and I would say he said that the paint job on the Bentons was better than the Gibson. Let's have a look. Just finishing string up. Oh, sorry. Ibanez versus Yamaha. Okay, that was the first one up. So I will show you that. Of course, you get what you asked for. We're back at 42 Gear Street number 3, and I've got another video for you. This time, it's a guitar from Yamaha versus a acoustic guitar from Ibanez. Now, whether or not I've released the video on this one or not yet, this guitar has got inbuilt reverb and chorus. But for the time being, just on this video today, I'm going to just compare it to the Chinese Yamaha, Ibanez, which is just over here. Now, obviously, Yamaha and Ibanez are competing acoustic guitars. These are very, very different guitars because this one has a finish on it, this one doesn't. This one has inbuilt reverb and chorus, and this one is for a fingerstyle player. So let me tell you a little bit more about this guitar first, and then we'll go back to the Yamaha. This is an artist model Ibanez. It's built in China. It's a high-end model built in China, and it has a contact pickup in it. It has a piezo under the bridge, and it's also got this pickup here. So this is really built for fingerstyle players, and also it probably should be plugged in because there are the controls for each of the individual miking systems. But today I'm just going to give you the open acoustic sound of this versus the Yamaha. So we're going to start with this. Okay, somebody tuned it to Dadgad. So now it's tuned back to concert pitch. Let's check it out. And now let's compare that to the Yamaha guitar. Okay, so that was the Ibanez, and here's the Yamaha. So these two guitars are very, very different. This one has got the built-in and I'll show you quickly what the built-in chorus and delay sound, reverb sound like. So obviously that is really, really useful to have, especially for buskers and the like. But I'd love to know the difference for you guys in the unaffected tone of each of these, because both of them are designed to be plugged in. The Ibanez is a fingerstyle, and this one has built-in effects. So what they sound like without their effects running or without them being plugged in, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll be really interested in seeing what you have to say. I'll be back with the very best content I can just as soon as I can. But in the meantime, as always, my friends, you take good care. So there we go. I thought that both those guitars sounded very similar, and that's why I did a comparison. I thought they sounded very, very alike acoustically, and obviously they sound very different when they're plugged in, especially that beautiful Ibanez, which has 3 separate pickups in it. Really, really nice. Hey, take care, Johnny. Catch up with it later. That'll be cool, man. Yeah, there we go. Phil James agrees with me. Not a lot of difference. They sound very similar. I thought they sounded good as well. Yep, super close. That's why I did the demo. I thought that they were very, very nice guitars. I thought that both of them played really well, and they just sounded really, really good. Hey, Jason, don't worry, you're not too late to the party. We're not even halfway through yet. Yeah, not a lot of difference. Grumpy Mike, I'm so sorry you've had a bit of bad luck recently. I am sending lots of love to you, brother. I know it's nation, but I lost 2 friends this week as well. A guy I worked with for 22 years, a guy called Steve Flaherty, passed away, and on Wednesday, the guy that Ray or Andy and I were talking about in our little video about all the years we've been together, our dear friend Rick passed away on Wednesday, and he was only 59. So I know how these things occur. And what we got to do, mate, is we just got to stay as positive as we can. So lots of love for going out to you, brother. Don't know about the Ibanez, but the Yami is all solid wood. I love the chorus and reverb effects on that Yamaha. Brad says, I thought they both sounded very acoustic. Love it. Oh, thank you, Sandra. Yeah, it really broke us this week. Really, really bad week. And there is nothing that can be said. You know, there's a lot of things that are very sad, and life can be very sad, but we have to make the best of a bad job. That's all I can say. Thank you, Blackjack Guitar. Thank you, Phil James, and to Grumpy Mike. Yeah, damn shitty week. I think that's the first time I've sworn. Yeah, it is. It's a really tough thing when you lose people that are close to you. But as I say, we have to get through it. And you're so right. There we go. We'll get through this together, brother. And I love you guys. And yeah, it's been a really, really hard week. And I know Andy has been really struggling. So sending lots of love to you and Esther, brother. We will get through this together. Anyway, right. Let's push on with some positive. You can let me know what you would like to see next. Brian May, Brownouts. Brian May performed for the Queen again, the band that stayed together, Queen, the Red Special, or the band that inspired Queen. Let me know. Hey, Jake Lee's in. Hey, brother. Just got home. Sorry you've had such a bad week. Who invited Jason? Bless. Oh, Jason's in. Awesome. Well, I'm very glad he's here. Hey there, youngster. Love it. Great to see you. Really good to see you, Quentin. Cute. Everyone's saying hello to Quentin. Look, Grumpy Mike gets it. You can have the Red Special. Of course, brother. Always for you. Here we go.
It was the early 1960s and a young teenage Brian May wanted an electric guitar. The problem was that the relatively new instruments were still quite expensive, into the hundreds of dollars. Well beyond the means of the modest family's budget. All was not lost though. Brian's father Harold was an electrical engineer and a hacker of sorts. He built the family's radio, TV, and even furniture around the house. Harold proposed the two build a new electric guitar from scratch as a father-son project. This was the beginning of a 2-year odyssey that resulted in the creation of one of the world's most famous musical instruments. Brian was already an accomplished guitarist, learning first on his dad's George Formby banjo ukulele, and graduating to an Egmont acoustic guitar. Brian's first forays into electric guitars came from experimenting with that Egmont. If you look close, you can even see the influence it had on the final design of the Red Special. The neck of the guitar is mahogany, made from a Victorian-era fireplace mantle. The building which housed the fireplace was long gone, and Harold happened to have the mantle in his workshop. Brian filled the wormholes with matchsticks as he carved out the neck. The center body of the Red Special was created from oak, the wood recycled from an old table. The sides of the guitar could be made of weaker material since they don't have to support the string tension. These were made from blockboard, an engineered material made from blocks of softwood sandwiched between two pieces of veneer. All this wood was cut, carved, and shaped using only hand tools. Oak and mahogany are hardwoods, so one can imagine how long it took to carve a block of it into something resembling a guitar neck. The neck isn't a solid chunk of wood. Most guitar necks include a steel rod called a truss bar. This rod helps the wood pull against the tension of strings. The Red Special is no different. Brian and Harold heated one end of a steel rod, then bent it into a loop. The loop was bolted at the body side of the guitar, while the rest of the bar runs through the neck to the headstock end. Brian originally wanted the guitar to be semi-acoustic, so he carved resonant chambers into the blockboard. He even planned to make an F-hole in the guitar body. Once the guitar was done though, he couldn't bring himself to cut a hole in the mahogany veneer which makes the outer skin of the Red Special. Rock guitarists need a tremolo or vibrato system. This is the whammy bar, which can add or remove tension on the strings, allowing the guitarist to bend all 6 notes at once. The problem with tremolo systems on guitars is that they don't always come back to a clean neutral point when the musician is done bending the notes. One or more strings will be out of tune. The Fender synchronized tremolo had this issue, and the problems always came down to friction. Brian and Harold spent a lot of time on the tremolo system. They used the neck of the guitar in progress to create a tremolo test bed. The pair went through 3 revisions before settling on the final design. Friction is eliminated everywhere possible. The entire tremolo assembly rides on a knife edge, which Brian and Harold hardened using case hardening compound over the kitchen stove. The strings ride in roller saddles. Brian made each of the rollers using a hand drill as a sort of manual lathe. The rollers aren't captive, so a broken string during a show means a roller is bouncing around on stage somewhere. Switching to a captive design would force Brian to change his playing style, so he just keeps a healthy supply of spare rollers on hand. Overall, this was a groundbreaking design. In Brian's own words, "Everybody was saying I should have patented it, but patents are a pain in the neck, and why not share everything with the world?" The nut, or headstock end of the strings, is also a frictionless design. The Red Special uses a 0 fret, so the strings don't rely on touching the nut to stay in tune. It simply is a guide between the 0 fret. Even with friction eliminated, something still has to provide enough force to hold the strings in tune, yet remain light enough for the guitarist to use the tremolo bar. Most tremolo systems use tension springs in the back of the guitar for this. Brian and Harold went with compression springs mounted on the front of the guitar. Specifically, they used valve springs from a motorcycle. Depending on who is telling the tale, it's either a Norton or a 1928 Panther motorcycle. 2 holes in the bottom of the guitar near the strap button allow Brian to adjust the tension in the overall system. The tremolo arm is probably the most talked about piece of the Red Special. The arm itself was built from the arm of a bicycle luggage rack. The sharp metal end of the rod would make playing the Red Special a painful experience. Brian solved this by raiding his mother's knitting supplies. A large knitting needle, cut and formed just right, serves as the tip of the tremolo arm. The pickup switching system is one of the most striking differences between the Red Special and ordinary guitars of its day. Most guitars have a 2 or 3 position switch to select one of the 3 pickups. The Red Special has 6 switches. When the Red Special was initially built, Brian tested out different configurations for pickup wiring. The pickups could be wired in parallel or series, and wired in phase or out of phase. Brian couldn't decide on only 1 or 2 configurations, so he and Harold created a switch matrix which gave him more flexibility. The pickups are wired in series. The top row of switches, from the guitarist's view, enables or shorts each of the 3 pickups. The short effectively acts as an on-off switch for that pickup. The bottom row of switches invert the polarity of each pickup, changing the phase. The different sounds Brian was able to achieve have been displayed on different songs. It's not uncommon for Brian to change settings during a song. While recording Bohemian Rhapsody, he used just about every switch combination. Every part of the Red Special was a process of trial and error. This is the true hacker spirit behind the guitar. Most trials didn't work the first time, but Brian and Harold iterated until they reached their goals. An example of this is the pickups. Brian's experimentation with pickups started with his Egmont guitar. He bought some Eclipse Magnetics button magnets from the local hardware store. These formed the core of the pickup. Harold then helped him build a coil winding machine, which allowed Brian to manually wind thousands of turns of fine copper wire around the pickups. It even had a wind counter built from a bicycle odometer. Brian didn't have an amplifier yet, so he plugged into the family's radio. The pickups worked. They were very bright sounding, but had one flaw. When bending notes, Brian found there would be an odd sound as the string moved across the pickup. He attributed it to the north-south alignment of the disc magnet poles. Cutting the magnets was beyond the tools he had, and custom magnets were out of the budget. The pickups worked, and these were the original devices used in the Red Special. Eventually, though, Brian had to fix the string bending problem. He headed off to the store and bought 3 Burns Trisonic guitar pickups. He coated these in epoxy to reduce the microphonics and then installed them in the Red Special. These same 3 pickups still reside in the guitar today. It's worth noting that the pickups on the Red Special receive an incredible amount of abuse. This has a lot to do with Brian's choice in plectrum. Most guitarists use a plastic pick. Brian has always used a 6-pence coin. It's an integral part of his style and sound. The serrated edge sure does a number on the pickup covers. The Red Special guitar was completed in the early 1960s. Brian went on to play the guitar in his bands 1984 and Smile. It wasn't until Queen in the 1970s that he really hit it big. Since then, the Red Special has been all over the world and played in countless shows. Brian has had backups made, but his primary instrument is still the same one he and his dad built all those years ago. One might think that a handmade instrument like this would require a ton of upkeep. It turns out that the Red Special was so well made that it never had a major problem. After nearly 40 years, the Special was showing its age though, so in 1998, the Red Special was overhauled and refinished by the careful hands of luthier Greg Fryer. His website details the work done, and includes some amazing photos of the internals of the Red Special. If you do want to read more about the Red Special, definitely check out by Brian May and Simon Bradley's book on the subject. The book shows the level of detail Brian and Harold went to, not only in building but in documenting the Red Special. These include full-scale dimensional drawings and handwritten reports on each process used to build the guitar.
So there we go. What a clever chap. I mean, seriously, him and his dad making a guitar that has lasted all this time and has played all over the world and has really gone wrong. Hey Terry, great to see you. Oh, that's cool. Wow, I had no idea about most of this. Really interesting and informative. Love these videos. Bless you, Jake. That's really kind. R.I.P. Ronnie Hawkins. Oh, rockabilly legend. I didn't know him, but a definite R.I.P. to him. Yeah, it has got a really chunky neck, and I love chunky necks. It would be amazing to play. Yeah, Brian is amazing. Very, very clever chap. And obviously got that from his dad. Oh, you got the Red Special book, have you? Yeah, I would like to get hold of that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Oh, about an hour ago. Oh, he's just passed. Well, bless him. In the UK, we lost Lester Piggott today as well, a renowned racing jockey. So, yeah, very sad. There we go. People just realising. Okay, so Robbie Robertson, the only one left of those that played with Ronnie Hawkins. Really sorry to hear that. Yep. Okie dokie. Yeah, bad news. Wow, this is the week, isn't it? Oh, man. Right, I'm just going to move the Red Special over. I've still got 4 videos for you. Oh, well, there you go. He was 87, so he had a good innings. Oh, you're off to see Queen Anne Lambert tomorrow. And the lamb is in. Hey, Lammy. Great to see you. Yep, totally felt RIP to all our friends that have passed and celebrities as well. Yeah. Right. Let me see. What do we want next? Let's go for... I like the band that inspired Queen. So I'm going to play that one for you next.
Brian May names band who inspired Queen. Brian May says one classic British band inspired Queen in their early days together on tour together and showed the budding megastars how to put on a show. May has been promoting the reissue of his solo album, Another Word, and posted an intimate video where he looked back to Queen's earliest days. The UK music scene in the early 1970s was a melting pot of artists poised for extraordinary success. Freddie Mercury served David Bowie on a clothes stall at Kensington Market and used to follow Jimi Hendrix to gigs all over the country. Queen's profile began to rapidly rise with the release of second album Queen II in August 1973, which hit number 5 on the charts. They also embarked on the first of 2 tours supporting a fellow British rock band who May believes should have been as big as the Stones. Freddie Mercury grabbed Sid Vicious by the collar and threw him out. For the remainder of 1973, Queen toured the UK as the support for Mott the Hoople and then again in the US during April and May 1974, before Brian May collapsed with hepatitis and the band had to fly home. In his new video, the guitar legend looks back on that formative period and pays the ultimate tribute to a lesser-known classic British rock band. He said, "Mott the Hoople were a great influence on us. They were our mentors in a way. We're just starting off as a rock group. We have so many big ideas. We have songs, we have presentation ideas, etc. But we've never been on tour, so we go on tour, very luckily supporting Mott the Hoople, who are a big band in those days. In fact, they should have been bigger if they hadn't broken up. I think they would have been like the Stones or whatever." The band's track All the Way from Memphis is included on May's Another World album in tribute to the impact they had on Queen and May personally. Brian added, "We supported them, we opened up for them all around the UK and learned our trade and learned how to deal with an audience. I mean, we had big ideas. Even then, we were precocious boys. But I remember watching Mott the Hoople burst onto the stage and the whole audience would erupt because it was just engineered that way. I say engineered because you do work on an audience, you want to make contact. You don't just stroll on and plink away and hope something will happen. At least we don't. You know, you have that opportunity to excite, to impassion, to inspire an audience. And they did that. They would go on and go. And the whole place would erupt. Queen's stagecraft, of course, would go on to be legendary, culminating in that perfectly curated and pitched set at Live Aid.
Yeah, so Mott the Hoople, in fact. And they were a great band and obviously inspired Queen and Brian quite a lot. I am really glad that he would promote a band and let people know that they affected them in a good way. That's a really kind thing to do. Yep. The band Mott the Hoople, a great band. Hey, from Russia. How are you doing? I hope you're well. Mick's Ralph 6-string razor was lost on the way to Memphis. Wow. Yeah, you're totally right, Jake. They were also a huge influence on Joe Elliott and Def Leppard. I read that somewhere. Really, really cool. Let me move that video across. So we have 3 videos left. Grumpy Mike says, CGS, here in the US, it's Memorial Day weekend. We honor the servicemen and women who made the ultimate sacrifice. Just wanted to give a small tribute to them. Well, I will join you in that and thank our servicemen and women from all over the world. They all do just as they're told, and they protect us. So I salute them all. Geronimo says, I think Roger Taylor's songs were the best. I'm in love with my car. Yeah, I remember that. Hilarious. Very glad to see you too. And I'm feeling okay, my friend. Hey, Easton Ray, great to see you. And same from Nashville, from John. Yeah, let's salute our forces. Definitely. Here, Grumpy Mike. Love it. Right. We haven't got long, and I've got 3 videos left. Do you want Brian May's brownouts? Brian May performs for the Queen again, or Queen, the band that stayed together? Let me know, and I will go with whatever you choose. I've got a lot of videos tonight. Probably because my tongue is still sore. And also, I know you guys do enjoy seeing these videos. Vice 1, I have no idea what that is. Let me know. The band that stayed together, Phil James, you've got it, mate. Definitely.
Mercury and Brian May's terrible arguments, what breaks bands up. Freddie Mercury frequently clashed with Queen bandmates Brian May and Roger Taylor, the legendary guitarist revealed in a throwback interview. Freddie Mercury frequently clashed with Queen bandmates Brian May and Roger Taylor, the legendary guitarist revealed in a throwback interview. A new documentary tonight illustrates how Freddie Mercury, Brian May, Roger Taylor and John Deacon were brought together to create the global phenomenon that was, and still is, Queen. It is more than 30 years since the Bohemian Rhapsody singer died, but the band he propelled onto the world stage remains as
I am so sorry. We had a little bit of internet difficulty there. I'm really... yeah, it just froze. Tape got caught up. Must be a VHS. No, it's not you, Sandra. It was me. Yeah, I have one job. Time for a waz. Love it. Oh, you guys, you are so funny. Right, I will go for that again. I'm really sorry. Let's go for it again.
Mercury and Brian May's terrible arguments, what breaks bands up. Freddie Mercury frequently clashed with Queen bandmates Brian May and Roger Taylor, the legendary guitarist revealed in a bands up. There were lots of arguments about how much input everybody had. We were like 4 painters with a brush each but one canvas. There was conflict, but we got there. Yet Brian revealed these arguments actually brought the band closer together, and proved instrumental in their success. He continued, we all influenced each other. That was the secret of Queen. We pushed and pulled each other, mercilessly. We had a family relationship. It wasn't always nice, because families aren't always nice. We sometimes said terrible things, but we got the best out of each other. Brian offered a fascinating insight into the dynamics of the band during the interview, explaining that Freddie would often act as a diplomat, ensuring that the show did indeed go on. Despite his bold on-stage persona suggesting he might have been the one at the center of the arguments, Freddie managed to help feuding Brian and Roger resolve their issues. Brian said, "We had big, big dreams. We wanted it all, and we felt we had what it takes. It's funny because if it had been just me and Roger, we would never have stuck together." He said that despite being so well aligned in some respects with Roger, there is not a single subject we don't have opposite opinions about. Brian continued, "We needed someone who would be the diplomat. And, strangely enough, Freddie was that guy. Everybody thinks that Freddie was that flyaway guy, but he was very pragmatic. If he saw a situation that was arising between me and Roger, he would manage to find a way through, a compromise. One of Freddie's great catchphrases was, 'We don't compromise.' But within the band we did. And that's why we survived." Queen were pioneers in the music industry. Bohemian Rhapsody stayed at number 1 in the UK for a staggering 9 weeks, and helped popularize the concept of the music video. By the early 80s, they were one of the biggest stadium bands in the world, and their greatest hits compilation album is the best-selling album in British history. With 6,750,000 sales as of July 2021, the album surges clear of ABBA's Gold, Greatest Hits in second, the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band in third, and Adele's 21 in fourth. Such was Queen's global domination that their 1985 Live Aid concert is widely considered the greatest in rock history, and came just a year before Freddie's last performance with the band at Nebworth.
Oh man, what an annoyance. I'm so sorry about that. It just happens that thankfully I got back on, which is great. So I have 2 more videos. I am going to play them for you because it is a Brian May tribute tonight. Yeah, and there was a picture in there that wasn't Queen. I hadn't noticed. Yeah, you're right, a tribute band. Yeah, and John Deacon, some very nice shots. Love it. Oh, wow. I kind of always feel like Brian May and Richie Blackmore are kind of each other's evil twin. Wow. That is, well, I can see that. Okay, I'm going to dive in with the last 2 videos. Let's start with Brian performing for the Queen, which is going to happen next week.
And Sam Ryder joined Platinum Jubilee Party headliners. The BBC's Platinum Party at the Palace on the 4th of June will also feature Alicia Keys, Duran Duran and Diana Ross. 20 years after he famously blasted God Save the Queen from the roof of Buckingham Palace, guitarist Brian May and his Queen bandmates will join the UK's Eurovision star Sam Ryder among headline acts at the Platinum Jubilee concert, it has been announced. Queen and Adam Lambert will open the BBC's Platinum Party at the Palace concert with a special performance marking the actual Queen's 70 years on the throne. May stole the show with his surprise rooftop appearance for the Golden Jubilee concert in June 2002. He said, 20 years after playing the Queen's glorious Golden Jubilee, we're very happy to be invited again. Then there was a moment when I wondered after Buckingham Palace roof, where can you go? Well, you will see. Alicia Keys, Nile Rodgers and Andrea Bocelli will also perform during the 3-stage, 2.5-hour event on Saturday the 4th of June. The lineup will also include Duran Duran, the Bond composer Hans Zimmer, Ella Eyre, Craig David, Mabel, Elbow and George Ezra. Ryder, who came second at the Eurovision contest in Italy on Saturday with the song Spaceman, the UK's best result in 24 years, will also perform live. Sir Elton John will appear in a pre-recorded performance. Soul legend Diana Ross, who has not performed in the UK for 15 years, will close the event with a live performance. She said, "I have had the honor of meeting the Queen many times throughout my life, including when I was with my family. Her Majesty has and continues to be such an incredible inspiration to so many across the world, and I was absolutely delighted to receive an invitation to perform on such a momentous and historic occasion." The evening will feature appearances from sports figures and stars of the stage and screen, including Sir David Attenborough, Dame Julie Andrews, Stephen Fry, the tennis player Emma Raducanu, the former footballer David Beckham, the Paralympian swimmer Ellie Simmons and the Royal Ballet. The dance troupe and Britain's Got Talent winners Diversity will also perform. The evening would highlight global themes that had emerged or evolved during the Queen's reign, organizers said, and would include British and Commonwealth contributions in the fields of fashion, sport, the environment, pop music and musicals. The latter section will be curated by Andrew Lloyd Webber and include a special appearance by the Hamilton creator Lin-Manuel Miranda, plus performances featuring the casts of The Phantom of the Opera, Hamilton, Six, The Lion King and Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Coverage will be led by Kirsty Young and Roman Kemp, with 22,000 people attending. 10,000 tickets will be allocated in a public ballot, with 7,500 for key workers, members of the armed forces, volunteers and charity workers.
Yep, so I had to get a picture in there of Rob Comber's band, because both Andy and I know him very well. In fact, I've played with Rob Comber. I didn't notice it was them. And someone said that Brian May was a bit porky. I love it. Love it. I noticed none of us were asked. Well, I think it is up to Her Majesty who she wants at her 70th. I would say I am a little bit of a royalist, but I would like to say that I think it's really fitting that Brian's going to play again, having done it for her, I think it was 50th. So Brian May could say he's an astrophysicist. He is. Yeah, he is indeed. Right, I am going to play you Brian May's Brownouts and then we will wrap things up.
Brownouts. Brian May opens up on strange persisting condition. Brian May revealed he has been suffering from a strange persisting condition after contracting COVID-19 during a candid interview on BBC Radio 5 Live. Queen's legendary guitarist Brian May appeared on Tuesday's episode of BBC Radio 5 Live's How Do You Cope podcast, where he discussed Freddie Mercury's untimely death. The musician also revealed he has been experiencing some long-lasting effects after contracting COVID-19. Brian said he has been suffering from brownouts following the illness. Speaking to hosts Ellis James and John Robbins about the long-lasting impact he has felt from coronavirus, Brian said, "I have a strange persisting condition. I think it's from the COVID. I get these kind of brownouts. Generally I'm okay. I'm not tired all the time, but I'll get to a sudden point in the day where something inside my head goes, you have to sleep now. You don't care about any of this. Go to sleep. It's an almost irresistible call and I just go out like a light. It's really weird. I just hope it doesn't happen in the middle of a gig." The 74-year-old rocker also discussed losing Queen's frontman Freddie Mercury and how the grief which followed impacted himself and other members of the band. Reflecting on Freddie's death in 1991, Brian told BBC Radio 5 Live's hosts, "I think Queen's drummer, Roger Taylor, and I both went through a kind of normal grieving process, but accentuated by the fact it has to be public. We sort of went into denial. Like, yeah well, we did Queen, but we do something else now. Roger and I plunged into our solo work and didn't want to talk about Queen." Brian continued, "That seems almost nonsensical because we spent half of our lives constructing Queen. But we didn't want to know at that time. It was a grieving thing. We just overcompensated. It went on for a long time. I went so far as to adapt John Lennon's God song in my solo stage act to say, I don't believe in Queen anymore. That was a vast overreaction. I didn't need to do that. Why would I do that? Because I couldn't cope with looking at it." Brian also touched upon working on Freddie's vocals for the Queen song Made in Heaven after his death. "It was very weird," Brian explained. "It was traumatizing in itself." He said he spent weeks working on little bits of Freddie's vocals for the song and listened to his powerful voice day and night. Brian added, "I'd have moments thinking, this is great, this sounds great Freddie, oh you're not here." Brian May on Freddie Mercury death, "Rog and I completely overreacted. It was quite difficult. You'd have to go away from it sometimes and recover and come back." However, Brian explained he felt immense pride and joy in squeezing the last drops out of what Freddie left us. He added, I still love that album. I think it's my favorite Queen album. There are things in there that are so deep. There's pure gold in there. I love every minute of that album.
Yep, so there we are. Brian May has a few excess troubles from COVID. And I know a lot of people have that as well. I am so naughty, I have overrun again, and it always happens with these tribute evenings. Lovely to see you, Masha. I'm glad you made it in. Check out the rest of the video if you can. I was lost there myself. Oh, sorry, I don't think that was to me. Oh, got my shot. CGS to get me through. I thought I saw a CGS in there. Awesome. Okay, guys. Yeah, that is very true. My brother Rick Beato did an interview with Brian a few weeks back, and Brian really loved him. Oh, bless you, Jeff Rock. Thank you so much, brother. I have to give you one of these to thank you. I'm so appreciative of that. Never courted, but always appreciated, brother. And I'm so glad you enjoyed the show tonight. That is amazing. Andy is just telling me, check out the Bohemians. That's our brother Rob's tribute band. So go check them out. And Grumpy Mike, thank you again for that. Really kind, sending you lots of love, brother. Yeah, that interview with Vic and Brian May is excellent. Oh, you don't need to do that, Grumpy Mike. Bless you. I have to give you one of these. That is so kind, and thank you to everyone that has contributed to the fun tonight. Yes, may our Queen have a lovely Jubilee celebration. Have a great week, everybody. Lovely comments as always. I have overrun by 8 minutes tonight. So all it remains for me to say is I love you all and you guys take good care.